Hello, welcome to a spoiler-filled discussion of the new Dragon Ball movie, you guys. It's Dragon Ball Super: Broly. And it's out in theaters as of January. What's today? Today's the 16th, and we're recording this. And it was out in Japan in December, I believe. It's out in American theaters today after some like pre-screenings and stuff like that. And I'm Kyle Hilliard. Javy Gwaltney is here.
Hi, everyone.
Suriel Vazquez is here.
Hello.
And we're the three Dragon Ball amigos. I don't know.
Yeah. Hanson is too.
Yeah. So
there doesn't have to be a name for it, by the way. We can
guess
just be the Dragon Ball
true.
fans in the office.
We can be the other.
We can be the Ball Boys.
Let's be the, how about the other Ginyu Force? How about that?
That's right. Ginyu Force 2.
Yeah. So Hanson did want to be on because he's the other big Dragon Ball fan in the office, but he couldn't figure out how to watch the movie. I don't know. He's a fool.
He's like one of our tech people too. Like he's real technical. He couldn't get the movie to work.
I don't know what his problem is. Yeah. Anyway, so Dragon Ball Super Broly. Right out of the gate, I want to know, did you guys overall like it? Was it a good movie that you enjoyed watching?
I like it, but I feel like I don't like it standalone, if that makes sense. I like it how it contrasts itself with the original non-canon Broly movie, which is like a super hardcore horror almost thing. Like I feel like that's as close to honest to God horror as Dragon Ball Z ever got. Like with the fight in like the Black Canyons and like Broly killing his dad by crushing the pod and stuff.
Yeah.
So having this sort of more lighthearted, character-driven exploration, lore-filled movie was interesting and cool. But I don't think I'd like it if it existed, like if there had never been like a Broly movie before it,
or if this was the first Dragon Ball thing you ever watched. Yeah. What about you, Suriel?
I think I agree that it's super. I can't say that it's like a good entry point.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So it's not like, oh, yeah, this Dragon Ball thing's popular, this movie's coming out. You'd think like maybe this is like a decent way to like introduce myself to Dragon Ball. I don't think this is that at all. But as someone who likes Super and who actually hasn't seen the first Broly movie, I actually really enjoyed this. Like it's about as good as I could have expected. It's not like it's not crazy surprising in any like way, but it's like it met my expectations in a really positive way.
Yeah, and like the things that I don't like about it are super nitpicky stuff.
Yeah, we'll get into it. You can find my review on the site, and overall I liked it. I totally agree with you guys that it's not like a great entry point, but I will say that like the action and the animation is compelling enough where like I think you would be entertained at least, even if you knew nothing about it. Like my big thing about it is it's not as like silly and fun as what Super has become, which I've really enjoyed, and the last two movies I feel like were really character driven and like kind of silly. This one is not silly, but I think it has the best animation that Dragon Ball has had in years. It's like a much more hand-drawn looking style. Like, I haven't really been super engaged with a Dragon Ball fight in a long time. Like, as I watch it today, I'm more, like, invested in the characters and the kind of the jokes and stuff like that. Yeah. But this was the first time in a long time that I liked the animation so much that I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm getting excited about, like, the fight between Goku and Broly and stuff like
especially
that.
In contrast with, like, Dragon Ball Super, which, considering how big of a show that is, it feels, like, surprisingly cheap.
It does not look great.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Like even the last two movies, I don't feel like they look that great.
Even the coloring on like, characters looks different in this, and I think it's better than it has ever been in Super for sure.
That's super interesting that you guys bring that up because I haven't seen Super at all. So I'm not gonna lie, the movie opening with like the shot of the 3D ships in space was not a good start.
The 3D, there's still that sort of sometimes they turn into 3D models.
It looks real bad. It looks like from a 3DS game. It looks real rough.
That stuff I don't like, but the sort of when it is clearly hand drawn, like there's the one like when the fight first starts, when Broly first punches Vegeta, like I don't think very little of that seemed like CGI, and it looked really great. And where Goku's like warming up to get ready to get into fight and throws his jacket to the side, I just love the way it looked. It looked so like kinetic and like the movement was so different.
And like there's this one shot that's real good that's like a tracking shot that starts with Broly that somehow seamlessly goes to his point of view when he's punching Goku through a mountain where you see his fist.
Yeah, there's like a weird first-person perspective, which sounds lame. Cool. It sounds lame when I say like, oh yeah, no, they do a first-person bit.
They do the Doom thing.
By the way, qualifier, everything that we say on this entire thing will sound lame, but when you watch it, it's actually very cool.
Yeah.
So
people in the know, the people who clicked on this video know what's up.
They know what's up, yeah. So let's kind of go through the plot a little bit. And some of my favorite parts were actually in the beginning because it was so fun as like a long-time Dragon Ball fan to see like a surprising amount of like lore and appropriate
Character study,
context. Yeah, like little things, like seeing when Frieza was like handed the crown, be like, okay, now you rule this planet of super powerful soldiers.
Yeah.
The Ginyu Force was there. Little things like I really love that they showed what the Scouters looked like before they became like the head-mounted model. Very stupid thing, but I like that they were like little old-school cameras that you actually had to like, point at someone to get their score.
Yeah, it's like the difference
their
between
credit score.
It's like the difference between like the old like block cell phones, like when the cell phone was first coming out.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
smartphones. Like, yeah, it's a super cool little detail of like, oh, this universe actually has a timeline.
Yeah, I like that. I like those little details. I like seeing like baby versions of Vegeta and Brawly and Raditz.
Yeah.
And like
the Raditz one was the best.
yeah, and Nappa with hair. Like
Yeah.
it's just like it was so fun to just see that. I also like that Vegeta was they were like, "Hey, where's your brother?" I don't know if you guys know about. I haven't even seen this, but there's like like I don't know, whatever those like 30-45 minute side story like Brawly and Story of Trunks, like the way they release those. There's a story that hasn't been dubbed for North America about Vegeta's brother. And he just exists in that one story, and then occasionally, just to make sure the canon is like correct, Vegeta will be like, "Oh yeah, I have a brother, but we don't really talk about him." And they had a throwaway line in this where they're like, "Vegeta, where's your brother?" And he's like, Vegeta, I don't care about my brother."
It's also interesting, like how much of a retcon this is in a few weird ways, because it feels like it messes with some of like the way things line up. So like the biggest thing that I saw was that Goku feels like he's way too old when he leaves the planet.
Yeah.
That is sort of the thing that I sort of lets onto early on, where he feels like he is aware enough of his surroundings when he leaves Planet Vegeta that it feels like he should have remembered that part of his childhood at least, or have some vague memories of it. Because I feel like the story that I remember has always been he landed as a baby, and the idea was that they left him there to destroy the planet, and so seeing the motivations change for that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was real weird. Like, did you guys ever see the original Bardock movie?
Yeah.
Like, was it in that? Because I haven't seen it. Was it presented as like a Superman sort of like, oh well, the Saiyan planet is gonna die. Let's get our kid off.
No,
sort of thing?
It was called The Story of Bardock, and I think the reason it's called that is because it really focuses on Bardock. Like they have the quick shot, of him like facing Frieza when Frieza throws the nuclear bomb. And that is from Story of Bardock.
Yeah.
Like he tried to go confront Frieza, but he was just like a low level Saiyan, so he got totally destroyed. If I remember correctly, Story of Bardock didn't really touch on why Goku was sent to the planet. Like he was just a forgotten child.
It's so weird. They just straight up went Superman. They're just like, yep, Krypton.
Yeah,
Vegeta.
That was sort of when Z started. That was sort of the lore they established. But like Bardock and Goku's mom, another character that like that's the most we've ever seen of her, which is cool. Like they've never really established that he had like a motivation to try to protect him, which is it's. I like that they have that as canon now, but at the same time, it's a little bit like, well, what about Raditz? Like you guys didn't care about your other kid.
We have to
like,
protect our child, our very precious child.
They just knew
Raditz, I
Raditz
guess,
was
is off
a
doing
shit.
whatever. Who knows? He's fine.
Unless, I guess they knew he was off planet, so maybe they weren't worried about it. I guess.
It's very, like, speaking to the Superman thing, it's very interesting the way they couch it, like, because they follow basically at the beginning, sort of, there's a little bit of Vegeta, but it's mostly sort of following Bardock and Goku, sort of their sort of origin story, and they contrast that with Broly's origin story, which feels like, if Goku is sort of the original Superman story, it feels like Broly is sort of like the red son of like, here's what could have happened if everything had gone differently, where Broly is basically sent off to this planet that's completely abandoned, totally different thing. He grows up very differently than Goku.
Yeah, so Vegeta's dad sends off Broly because he just sees him as this like, he's way too strong. We can't control him. Right. Also, he might be cooler than Vegeta. So like, let's get him out of here. And I liked the father going after Broly. I liked the Broly father relationship. There's like lots of little details that I liked where the guy that was with them, who helped him, who was just pretty much a throwaway character to basically explain things for the viewer. I liked that he was like, he's like, oh wow, I've never seen a full moon like this. And Broly said, was like, don't look at it too long, you might turn into an ape. And he was like, oh, yeah, I've never done that before. Like it had never occurred to me that a Saiyan like would have lived their life like never having gone ape. Right. I just assumed at some point
never
everyone
having
does
looked
it.
at the moon at the
yeah.
at the right
It does like. It is little moments like that sort of flesh out that universe, and it's like, oh, there's actually like classism among the Saiyans.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because like they clearly look down on that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I like having more to grab onto with the Saiyans other than like they're angry and they're aliens and it's Goku's really strong because he's one of them, you know.
Yeah, like that whole lore dump, because like the first 20 minutes are just backstory and lore dump and retconning and stuff. Like, it's all worth it. I feel like, even if the dialogue is sometimes really bad. Like when Bardock and his wife.
Other qualifier. We're talking about Dragon.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, when he's walking with the pod, it's just like straight up. Like all his lines feel like a Wikipedia summary article. I am doing this because A, B, C, D. But I feel like the novelty of fleshing out that universe with those little details is worth that.
Yeah. Some of the stuff they do with like, here's what it would be like if the Saiyans had kept living. Like I really like the part where Broly's kind of acting up a little bit once they get to the planet, and like all his dad does is just like, I'm gonna immediately go for the tail and paralyze you. Okay, you're like you are subdued now.
I love I love that. By the way, a commenter on my review made fun of me for calling that bit out, like saying like, oh, you don't know anything about Saiyans. But the reason I liked that is because it shows like an understanding of that Saiyans are their tails are the weak point.
Yeah. Right. It's a really
I understand.
Cool
I get it.
Kyle,
that's why
I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was surprised how much time they spent on sort of that part of the story.
Yeah.
Because it definitely feels like it's sort of like a horror movie in that you're kind of just waiting for the thing that you were sold was going to happen. Like, I'm here to watch Broly and Goku and Vegeta fight. But like the amount of time they spend building to that is longer than I thought it was going to be, which is cool.
Let's meet everyone's dads. Basically, it's like the beginning of that movie.
Right.
Frieza's dad, Vegeta's dad, Broly's dad, Goku's dad.
Right.
Now they're all dead.
Now they're all dead. Yeah. Sorry, guys. And then we just fast forward in time, literally like 40 years to Goku and Vegeta fighting on Earth. To Head Chala playing in the back.
Yeah. That was a really cool transition.
Yeah, I liked it. It was like, and here's a million things that happened. Watch the show if you want more on that or read the manga.
Yeah, there's a whole thing that happened between there.
Yeah. And then Beerus and Whis are hanging out. I like that Goku and Vegeta rush off. Okay, wait, we're skipping things because... So we meet Goku and Vegeta fighting to Head Chala. It's very important that they get Head Chala on there. And then we go back to present-day Broly, and some of Frieza's minions are trying to they find a signal, so they go find him, right? They're like, oh, we think we might have found a soldier for Frieza, let's go get him. So they grab him, they find out the backstory there, and they find out that Broly is like he's just this insane person that's been living with his father on a planet, and the father's been training him, but also keeps like an electricity collar,
like a shock collar,
yeah, which
him.
I'm surprised he can't just pull that off. I don't. Maybe he just knows not to. I guess.
It's just one of those things like
you guys know, like they when they train baby elephants. You guys know about this? They put the ankle thing on them, and then they drive it into the ground, and the baby elephant can't get it out. But when they just retain that knowledge, so when they become an adult, they don't even have to really put the stake into the ground. That elephant doesn't even try.
Yeah.
That must be the situation here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's where he got that inspiration from.
Right. I mean, it's basically a Dumbo story, right?
Right.
So, and then there's a couple of new characters introduced. I had already forgotten her name. You remembered it.
It's either Chila or Sheila.
Chila, who, they really are sympathetic to Broly right away, which is...
They try to make you empathize with Broly more than they have in the past, for sure.
And I think it seems like those characters might even be in it for the long haul. Like whatever happens next with Broly, or maybe Broly shows up in Super, the show, or what the manga.
They seem more substantial characters than I thought they would be at first.
Which I was surprised. I thought they were just going to be like the people that find Broly, and then Broly kills them and takes their ship, was kind of what I thought was going to happen. And I don't know, they were interesting, I guess. I like that Broly has some defenders out there. So, so Frieza's alive, which I am not fully caught up on Super. I believe you haven't watched Super yet. Suriel, I think we're in the same boat pretty much.
Yeah,
Right?
I've heard stuff about it, but like the basic version is that sort of Frieza gets revived for the Tournament of Power.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a surprise for me, but I like Frieza. He's probably my favorite Dragon Ball villain.
All right.
Happy to see him back.
I love Frieza. I think he's one of my favorite villains in anything ever. Was his voice actor off to you guys?
It's a different voice actor than I
really
think you might have
sucks.
remembered. It's not the iconic Frieza voice actor that people know from Z.
I hate
They
it.
definitely changed it for Super.
Yeah, we watched it dubbed, by the way, for the for.
It's
those
real
watching.
weird.
Yeah,
It's a lot more like posh, or maybe not posh, but like very hoity-toity, more so than his original voice actor.
Yeah, like the original voice actor had a little bit of that, but there was always like a crack to his voice that that always hinted like, oh, this guy's super messed up.
It always sounded like someone's grandma early on.
Yeah,
Someone's
which is-
very menacing grandma.
yeah. I guess I wonder if long term, if they want Frieza to stick around as like an ongoing character at this point, if they're just trying to make him less angry.
I'm wondering if they're like trying to redeem him too.
Maybe
Like,
it's a tough
because
one.
you see like Goku. You know, Goku and Vegeta have like a conversation about that, and Goku still got his. No, everyone gets a third, fourth, fifth, 200th chance.
If I can fight them, I want them to be around. Is always
Right.
Goku's thing, right?
Just do it for me because I need someone to punch.
Yeah.
But like it's so funny because like he gets revived and then he's part of the Tournament of Power. He's ostensibly on the side of good because he wants to save his universe in the Tournament of Power. But then immediately he's like, no, I'm back on my villain BS. And
Also, I mean, like, in terms of Dragon Ball villains, like, they've all done a lot of evil stuff. Even Vegeta, who we all can agree that we love. We all love
problematic
Vegeta.
fave for sure.
He's even been redeemed for the people that he killed, I think, because he killed a lot of Namex, but they were revived with Dragon Balls. Boo killed everyone in the world, but they were revived with Dragon Balls. But Frieza killed he basically doomed a race to extinction, and there's no undoing that.
Those people didn't come back.
Like, I don't think there's any way to like fully redeem Frieza
Right.
ever. I don't know, but maybe he's just going to be like, the cartoon supervillain that always gets defeated for the future of Dragon Ball. I don't know.
And like, you have to admit, that's a pretty good like punishment, I feel like, for that character.
Yeah.
You know, to take like this terrifying villain that everyone is afraid of and just sort of reduce him to Goku's punching toy.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
now and again.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I like the running theme of here are multiple characters who are doomed to forever not be as strong as Goku.
Yeah,
Basically, Vegeta and Frieza are constantly around, but it's always acknowledged that you'll never beat Goku. So
There's a line that gets crossed at a certain point where like it's like, well, I'm in the lower tier now. Like Piccolo's like, well, I got to drop down a level. But if
I'm
Vegeta
next to Tien.
Tien.
that has been the running through line of all of Dragon Ball. Is like Goku meets someone, he's they're as strong as he is. They fight and then they become friends. But then that person, Goku just
the
very
curse.
quickly outpaces that
yeah,
person.
Yeah. If Vegeta refuses to go down to the remedial level, he's like,
Right.
no, I'm staying
That's
here.
why
I
he's
don't
such an
care."
important character.
Yeah.
Is that he's the one who's fighting hardest to maintain.
Yeah, and even he's struggling.
Just to loop back around real quick to what I feel is like the best joke in that whole movie.
I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Is that Bulma and Frieza have the same wish
Yes.
for the Dragon Balls. Like,
Really
the
like
entire plot is moved along by this idea that Frieza wants to be taller, 5 centimeters taller, and Bulma wants to be 5 years younger.
And they're both like humble about it in that like they're both tricky about it in that like they don't want to. Bulma doesn't want to get too young because then it's noticeable.
Yeah, yeah.
And Frieza doesn't want to get too much taller because it'd be noticeable. They both want sort of the natural, like,
Yeah.
I want just enough of a change so that I feel better about myself, but not enough to where people think it's weird.
like, that gag works so well because of like
yeah.
how it's structured and how close those bits are placed to one another.
Yes. Yeah, they really nailed it. And it's also that they almost have the same speech. Like, like Bulma's like, well, I can't go too young or people
Yeah.
knows. And then like 10 minutes later, Frieza's like, I can't go too tall.
Right.
And then to add to that joke, they're like, Frieza, why don't you just use your second form where you're like twice as tall? I don't remember his reasoning. I appreciate
No, he's
that
like,
they
I wanna
No,
be in
I
my
want it in my
original
natural
That's
form.
right.
I don't want to stand on my tippy toes.
I love that. I love that just that like because like I feel like Toriyama approaches this is just my assumptions. I feel like he approaches lore in a way that's like if it's funny or good for the story, like I'll put it in there.
He doesn't like feel that stuff is super precious. I
Yeah.
wonder how much of it is like, look, I wrote it when I was working like 8-hour work weeks. I had to come up with stuff every
Yeah.
week. So, and then Dragon Ball feels like it's more laid back, or Super feels like it's more laid back. It's like, look, I know a lot of this stuff is dumb because I made it up as I went.
Yeah.
Like, it's really silly. Let's just have fun with it.
Just acknowledge it though is all I
Right.
want. Because there's always like the Piccolo used to be a demon, but now he's like an alien. Like there's that kind of wishy-washy stuff. But I appreciate that even I like the consistency in the interest of maintaining the joke. You know, like it's fine to call it out as being absurd as long as you call it out.
It also establishes a really weird backdrop for as intense as the fight is, the stakes could not be lower.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They're fighting over a wish that will ostensibly not change anything. Like Frieza's not gonna wish for everyone to die. Bulma's not gonna travel back in time or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the stakes are just unimportant, but they're still giving it their all.
Yeah, that's Goku, man.
And then Broly's dad dies because of
Frieza's desire to be
Wasn't
5
that scene
centimeters.
amazing
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, like that was. I'm a little torn on that because I did like where the direction they were going with Broly and his dad. They're like, this is a complicated relationship, but clearly the father really loves Broly. But then to just kill him with Frieza's throwaway joke of being like, I'm gonna kill your dad. Broly, somehow your dad was killed. I don't know what happened. Like it made me laugh, but at the same time I was kind of like, maybe he deserved a little bit better. I don't know.
No, well, I mean, Dragon Ball is like a universe where morality and life resets are just like, a couple of minutes away.
That's true.
They could wish him back.
Yeah.
It's a surprisingly amoral universe where it's just like
That's a good point. Yeah.
you think they would have used the wish for that, but
that's what I was
whatever,
thinking.
just send him back to his home planet.
Yeah.
But they definitely spent a lot more time sort of establishing the relationship between Broly and his father, which I thought was actually it was
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now at the point in the plot where we're discussing Frieza has come to Earth to basically test his new Broly soldier on Goku and Vegeta.
Right. He's also here for the Dragon Balls, so he can wish.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the stakes are so low. I forgot about. I also another quick sort of gag in that terms of acknowledging lore and stuff like that. I like that Frieza mentioned that how much it sucked to be in hell, because that was such a fun way to open the previous movie. Of that was his hell, is just hanging from a cocoon in a tree while toys dance around him.
And that's also why he mentions that his last wish was to be immortal.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't want that at all because he understands how shitty that would be.
Yeah,
it's
right,
just
exactly.
to never die would be terrible. So now he's aiming lower.
Which is great. And then so we're on Earth and Broly and Goku fight, and that's the rest of the movie.
That's basically.
If you're just listening to this, Javy is looking at our screen behind us, which is just a loop of Krillin being destroyed by Frieza over and over.
Who did that?
Hanson did it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's fun. Aren't you having a good time?
He's gonna die
This
a
is
thousand
really enhancing
times
the audio
during
experience
this
for people.
exchange.
Exactly.
So he gets down on the planet, and so they initially sort of have a quick discussion, but it's very apparent that Broly is kind of more loyal to Frieza than he is either Goku or
he has
his
no
own
idea who they
kinship.
are. Yeah, I like Goku. I like Goku and Vegeta's jackets. I feel like that's a weird little touch. That is cool. I just thought they looked cool.
They put out those actual jackets as clothing.
Oh, of course
I maybe
they did,
think about buying them.
They're pretty damn cool. Yeah.
Some sort of mid '90s FUBU kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And the fight is solid. It's a big chunk of the movie, and it's fun. I was a little confused by because they're fighting on the snow, and the snow fighting is great, and Broly keeps expanding but not going Super Saiyan, and they skip Super Saiyan 2 and 3, but they do use Super Saiyan God.
They linger on Super Saiyan God for longer than I think anything else
which is the pink-haired one.
Yeah.
Because that's the first time Vegeta's even gone that. He skipped right to blue in Super.
Yeah.
So they acknowledge that path to a certain degree. I feel like lately in the show it's been kind of we'll jump around.
I mean, it comes in it's consistent with sort of Vegeta's trend of look, I just did it. I also figured it out. They never
exactly.
linger on except for the Super Saiyan thing of I went up in the asteroid field or whatever and kicked my own ass or
cried as it rained on my face.
Yeah, I was so angry at Goku that I turned into Super Saiyan. But it's always everything Goku does, Vegeta just also does it later.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
kind of don't explain it.
But maybe you guys can help me figure this out. So they were fighting on the snow, it was getting crazy, and then they started busting holes in the earth that caused lava to come up. And then they end up underground? Are they fighting underground, or have they created so much
I think
lava
they've created so much
faucets?
destruction.
I think it's just the Namek situation. Without the Namek,
they destroyed so much of that area that it was
Yeah.
starting to become unstable.
So the heat from underneath. So they basically melted the polar ice
Yes.
caps.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And so
Thanks.
in that early snow fight, I think that's when you first sort of start to notice that okay, we're gonna use a lot more sort of tracking shots. We're gonna use sort of more kinetic action. We're gonna follow the action closer than I think they have in any Dragon Ball fight.
Yeah,
you know.
I think that's why I liked it more than past Dragon Ball fights. Right. But then the further along it gets, the more they started switching to like the CGI models.
Yeah, they
which I don't love
that pan shot with like Goku and Vegeta as 3D models when it's like centering around them just to show how 3D they are. I hate it.
It's still. I mean, they're not there yet to the point where they look the same.
It looked like the PS2 game.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
It's a little weird. Like some of the later on, there's some sort of like energy effects that feel like, okay, here's very obviously the drawing, and then here's the 3D layer effect that you've added on top of it, and it looks very noticeable in a way that it wasn't. Like it was kind of distracting.
Like the best thing about like Dragon Ball Z like fighting effects, especially like when Cell and Gohan were going at it, you know, with the Kamehamehas, and you just see like it's so simple but like awe-inspiring to watch. You just see this white energy ball get, you know, bigger and bigger and bigger. And whenever there is an explosion, you hear that sort of like whatever that sound is,
that low
like
hum.
Low hum. Like that's cool. That's forever. Just keep doing that. Don't do the shitty 3D effect. It looks real bad.
The first half of the fight I definitely liked more because the second half I feel like is when they started like going really hard into the CGI stuff. I did like the climax. I liked how much Goku's ass got kicked. Yep. Like he was screaming. Like I don't know that he's had his ass kicked that hard in a while. I also liked how abstract and like they were like they're. I think they were punching each other so hard that they were punching each other into other dimensions or something. I'm not sure, but I liked it the way it looked.
But yeah, they do a really good job of like making the action feel super fast, but still follow. Like you sort of follow and sort of like linger on individual hits in a way that they haven't. Where, you know, usually it's just like, hey, you know, we're fighting so fast that I can't even follow it, so we're just gonna like blur everything enough to where it's just like, you know, them just kind of throwing hands and legs at each other for a while, and like to the point where, like, you know, in later sagas it was just kind of like, yeah, they're still kind of doing it, and you'll see them from far away, and it's just like this little blob just kind of happening. Whereas this feels like they're moving back and forth a lot more. Sort of the camera they do a lot of like the shaky cam kind of thing, which isn't always great, but like. They do like I think the best job they've ever done of like following those fights versus just displaying them. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, Kyle, are we at the point of the episode where we can talk about the best part of the episode now that another character is canon in the Dragon Ball universe besides Broly?
Actually, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Really?
Oh wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Piccolo is. You're talking about that whole section, right?
Yeah.
Piccolo is about the only other. Like Beerus, Whis, Bulma, and Trunks and
Goten are in for like...
They have like 5 seconds, but like, yeah, I would have liked to see, like, I like when Gohan and Tien are hanging out and stuff, but like, I was a little bummed that there weren't more cameos. Piccolo appears, and he helps them become Gogeta.
Yeah, Aladdin Saiyan.
Which, yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that is their canon now, right? Did they fusion to fight Boo?
No,
I mean
they used the Potara earrings.
Okay, this is the first time because
that was Trash.
They did the dance in the Fusion's film, which is not canon, which is one of the better which is one of the more fun like Dragon Ball movies. I would say that's where Gotenks fights Hitler. Yeah, so watch that one if you haven't seen that one yet. The one thing that scene was fun, but it was jokes that they did in Fusions, you know, which I'm not opposed to. It's always nice to see like fat Vegito and like weird skinny weak version of him.
They did that in Dragon Ball Z with Gotenks as well, where
they did.
Like,
yeah.
As they were figuring out fusion plan, it's like, hey, here's the fat version, here's the really emaciated version, and then all right, now we actually pulled it off.
Like, they did it in Fusions. They're doing it again here, but I'm not complaining. I like hearing Vegeta being like, I refuse to dance, and then being like, all right, fine, I will dance so that we can do this.
But see, I feel like the gag of that whole section wasn't necessarily just like, oh, here's the fusion crap again where they mess up. It's that Frieza is getting his ass beat.
Yeah, that's
while that's happening.
While this is happening, basically, so you know, Goku basically takes Vegeta, which there's a really weird transition in that like Vegeta starts fighting Broly, and then it's sort of like, hey, I want to fight too now, and Vegeta's like. Almost in every other situation, he's been like, "No, this is my fight. Here's my I'm very prideful. I want to fight this guy." And this is the only time you don't see him again for like, you know, another 10, 15 minutes. He just disappears from the movie completely as Goku
takes
fights.
A breather. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only time he's ever done that, I think. And then so Goku gets his ass beat, and then Vegeta kind of steps in, and he gets his ass beat, and so they kind of both disappear to Piccolo to say, hey, you need to help us fuse so we can beat this guy up.
As they're doing that, Goku yells at Frieza, "Have fun, Frieza!"
Yeah, at some point, basically,
that's very good.
Broly turns into a bull. Basically, he's just so blinded by rage, and still not Super Saiyan.
Yeah,
which is absurd. Like the fact that he's going toe to toe with Goku and Vegeta's
and
Super
Golden
Saiyan,
Frieza,
right? Super Saiyan God forms as like a normal guy is really like stretching it, because like the idea that he just grew up on this planet, who, as far as we know, didn't have any like actual contenders in terms of like the reason Goku gets stronger is because he has
gross jelly from
So the fact that he became way stronger than either of them through that, I guess, is either like, no, this guy's got a lot of raw potential, or it's just like, I don't know, maybe they just had to do it some way. But
they did. I feel like they set up in a pretty decent way that he had that raw potential,
right? But then at some point, Broly's just blind with rage, and at some point he just happens to turn on Frieza. Which is his
He's just fighting whatever's in his field of view.
Then Frieza's like, oh shit, I gotta turn into Golden Frieza.
That was a good bit of just watching Frieza get his ass kicked. I also, real quick, I liked, small aside, I liked when this fight kicks off with Broly and Vegeta, I like that the dad is like, Vegeta is actually pretty strong. Didn't realize this was going to happen. Okay. All right. Let's reset here. Okay. So then Gogeta comes back and fully kicks Broly's ass. Mm-hmm. That's when things start getting abstract and weird.
Yeah.
And they defeat Broly, and then his friends wish him back to his planet.
Yep.
They grab the Dragon Balls when no one's looking. And then you guys have to remind me. I watched it a week or two ago, but you guys watched it last night. Do they try to kill Frieza and Goku's like holds up his hand and says no, let him go? Is that what happened?
No.
They basically just said, get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Frieza's like, no. What happens is Frieza like lifts his finger to destroy like the henchmen as they're running away as revenge for using the Dragon Balls.
Okay.
And then Goku's like, don't do that.
That's right.
And Frieza like gets all puffed and he's like, I'll come back to destroy this planet one day.
Yeah.
His usual thing.
Yeah. Another sort of rewind bit that I liked is when they landed on Frieza's henchmen landed on the planet and found the Dragon Balls, and they're like, oh crap, it's Goku and Vegeta, and they get in their ship and run away, and Vegeta just like flings a power ball at them, and Goku just jumps on top and just like presses his face up against the glass. He's like, hey, what's up? It's me.
Yeah, and the guys inside are like, oh, we're screwed. It's like, look at that face, and it's just Goku like breathing on their windshield, basically.
Yeah.
That's a really good.
That was good. Yeah. Okay, and then so the film ends. Frieza's everyone's reset. Frieza's like back to go build his army, and then Broly's back on the planet with his two friends, and they're trying to figure out how to survive. And Goku instant transmissions there and brings him some capsules, like gives him a house, basically. And he's like, keep training because I want to fight you again in the future, because that's just always Goku's thing.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to make sure that the most powerful people are still around so he can punch them in the face in the future. I don't know.
And Beerus finally gets to have his nap.
That's right. Oh, and Beerus is a babysitter for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's another good quick gag.
He's just there on the island, which is, it's a really weird thing that it kind of throws into like a question, because like Bulma effectively buys this island so Goku and Vegeta can just fight and not have to worry about destroying the planet. And then, but like, I guess there's no media, because you'd think that at some point someone would have footage of these guys, and in general it feels like the world just kind of ignores this whole thing that's destroying the planet.
Yeah.
Like, there's no mention made whatsoever of like people describe, hey guys, these guys are blowing up like Antarctica. Like, it's just gone now at this point.
As the fantastic podcast All Systems Goku has well established, Saiyans hate the media.
That's true.
They make sure to get rid of all the cameras.
Is what you're saying is that Bulma at some point has just established like an anti-press tirade and just has shut down. They've clamped down on the press so hard that it's like, no, you can't even.
I think Vegeta just blows up every camera that shows up. Piccolo does it too sometimes.
They just go and like they have made no attempt to legislate or like, hey guys, you have to let us in here, or they just nope.
Capsule Corporation is the most powerful corporation in the world.
Yeah.
You can't tell them what to do,
So like the idea that Bulma is basically the head of like this fascist corporation, that it just shuts down any like attempts to figure out what is going on with this planet that is constantly under attack by enormously powerful people.
I don't remember if it was Z or Super, but they summoned the dragon in the middle of Capsule City in their backyard. And it shows the city like nearby, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening at Capsule Corporation?" Because it's cloudy and the dragon's there. And there's like a throwaway line where a guy's like, "That's Capsule Corporation. They're always up to whatever, and who cares?" And like they just accept it as this absurd corporation that's always doing weird things at this point.
I feel like Dragon Ball Z has hardly ever like acknowledged the press in any way outside of like the Cell saga with like Hercule.
What I was mentioning is that they talked about a lot in All Systems Goku Giant Bomb's Dragon Ball podcast where when Nappa and Vegeta come to the planet, there is a scene where Nappa like goes out of his way. And I believe he even says the line like "I hate the media" and like blows up all the newscasters
planes and stuff. Yeah,
trying to watch them like fight. Yeah,
right. So at this point, I guess the press is just giving up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I mean, I wouldn't want to go cover that story if my peers were being obliterated.
Because I feel like if it wasn't for Hercule, like you would think like Goku would just be like this. Like celebrity at this point, or like a tyrant god who would just like everyone is super afraid of him because they know he could just destroy the planet if he really wanted to.
I know we're going off on a little bit of tangent, but like the thing that's weird is like he has won the
World Martial Arts
World Martial Arts tournament where he fought Piccolo, who was like a world. Like I just rewatched Dragon Ball, so I'm like this is fresh on my mind. Like Piccolo enslaved the Earth, and people did not forget that.
Really short memories.
And Goku defeated him at the World Martial Arts tournament, but like they don't recognize him when he comes back.
They recognize it. Like he acknowledges in the Buu saga that like I don't want to register under my own name as Piccolo because I think that'll give people
that's true. Yeah,
so he goes as Ma Junior.
Yeah, that's right. But like the only person who seems to remember Goku and has any like understands who he is and how powerful he is the announcer.
Right.
He's the only guy that's
you
like, oh, I remember you. It's like, what about all the people that were like...
What about the guy who's like, the guy he fought like 40 years ago or whatever?
We're digging in too deep here.
Yeah.
But so Dragon Ball Super Broly. I thought it was good. I think ultimately Battle of Gods is still like my favorite movie of the last sort of batch of movies just because it was like the most fun and the most like celebration of the sort of long-term Dragon Ball like mythology. I feel like Broly is more serious, which has a lot of jokes and a lot of fun in it, but it was more serious and more about like canonizing Broly in an interesting way and providing some context for the Saiyan race, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through a couple of quick notes here. Bulma, I think, has a really funny watch in that it's like, it's 2018 and she has a watch that she has to like flip open. I thought that was pretty funny. There's that weird chanting that goes on towards the end.
The soundtrack.
Yeah, where there's just like, Gogeta, Gogeta. Like, it's like this weird sort of backdrop to some of the later fights.
It reminds me of
really
Akira.
Weird.
Akira has a similar thing where it's all vocalized soundtrack, and you don't really hear it unless you're like specifically listening to it for it. But there's themes in Akira where it goes Kaneda Tetsuo, and it like says their name. Yeah, so it's
almost like bordering on like Smash Brothers levels of like chanting characters' names during the fight. Like we'll do it for you.
I was very weirded out when Broly and Goku started to fight, and it did like this like the announcer thing of Broly and Goku.
I liked it.
There's also one line when Goku and Vegeta sort of first teleport to Piccolo, he has a very awesome line where he says, "What in the name of the multiverse?"
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
A good line. Anyway, that's all for me.
Yeah. Any final thoughts there for you guys? I feel like I've shared mine.
I'm curious to see if they move forward with this at all. If by canon, does it just mean like, hey, fans, you can sort of start speculating about what might happen? Or are they actually going to do anything with Broly going forward with whatever Dragon Ball thing they end up doing that's part of the main line?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the last two movies were integrated into Super.
Yeah.
Like, they were just sort of shifted slightly. The stories were a little different, but
do you think they do that here, where they just say like the next season, the first
I don't know.
arc of Dragon Ball is going to be this
next.
story spread out over 8 episodes, or are they just going to say after you watch Tournament of Power, watch Broly, and then watch this whatever new saga we end up doing?
I don't know. I think they might integrate it into the show. That's been their pattern so far. So final thoughts, Jamie?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I've got some issues with it, but it's mostly just nitpicky kind of stuff. It makes me want to go back and rewatch all of Dragon Ball Z and all of the Dragon Ball Z movies.
Yeah, it made me want to go watch Story of Bardock again.
Because those movies are actually, they've got like a 50-50.
Some of those early ones are like real bad.
The Tree of Might.
The first 3 basically are.
Turles just looks like Goku, and we're all okay with that, I guess.
Yeah. But like the later ones, especially, I feel like 12 might be my favorite.
Which one's
Dragon Ball Z.
Do you know the title?
Yeah, it's the one in Hell with Gotenks versus Hitler and Gogeta.
Is that Fusion's Reborn?
That's Fusion's
or
Reborn.
Yeah, Fusion's Reborn.
That one's super fun. That one's great.
Outside of like the Namek saga and the Cell saga, I think that's my favorite bit of Dragon Ball stuff.
I liked World's Strongest too, where he fights the mad scientist in Antarctica.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so Dragon Ball Super Brawly, it's out in theaters now. I'm afraid I know it. I know it's out as of January 16th. I'm not sure how limited it is or if it's in many theaters. But you should go see it if you like
you're a
Dragon
fan of
Ball.
Well, I checked last night. Out of curiosity, it's playing at like 5 theaters in Minneapolis, like big ones too.
So pretty, yeah. So if you can, I was telling, I watched a screener to do the review and stuff like that. But I was telling Suriel, one of my like top 10 favorite movie going experiences, period, was going to see Resurrection F in a theater full of Dragon Ball fans.
Is that the Frieza one?
Yeah, that was the Frieza one. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's good. I'd recommend it. But like seeing it in a theater with like a room full of Dragon Ball fans was a lot of fun. So if you have that opportunity to do that with Brawly, like
I will say, JV, for you, like you could watch Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, which I think are two pretty solid movies.
Yeah, they're good.
And then you're already like partially into Super already, because those movies are basically like the first 2 arcs of Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
So that you can just go from there to the first sort of universe tournament.
Saga. Well, anyway, thanks so much for watching. Leave your comments in the video. Say nice things, please. And you can also check out my written review on GameInformer.com. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye.